Okay. We are Mobile Defender. We give fleet managers the ability to detect two things that they don't have today. The first is the ability to know when their vehicle's location is the real location that they're seeing in the dashboard. They're not being tricked. The second thing is the ability to know that if they're being stalked or tracked, if cargo thieves are putting a GPS tracker on their vehicles. I'm a PhD student here at NYU Tandon. I was the founding head of New York City 911 cybersecurity. I have over 25 years of government cybersecurity experience, including being CISO at FDNY, currently the CISO at VSNY. And I've seen over my career how GPS security threats are a true single point of failure, and they're not protected. GPS is something that we rely on today so much, and there's no security in GPS, as we'll explain. And this is not about a product. This is about protecting something that's a core technology that we're using today, every day in our daily lives. But we're going to see the pain points are specifically relevant in certain industries, as we'll see. Anyone see this Guy Fieri tequila heist thing on 60 Minutes? So Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar have a company called Santa Tequila, and they lost over 24,000 bottles of tequila worth over $1 million gone, not through Goodfellas style hijacking, no force used, GPS spoofing. What happened was the trucks were supposed to go to Lansdale, Pennsylvania, and actually they were headed to LA. And that was done through tricking not just the drivers, but the fleet managers into thinking they were on course, and they actually weren't. And that was $1 million, but we'll see it could be much worse. Who is affected? Who's in this kind of ecosystem? We have here cargo owners, freight brokers, fleet owners, telematics, cargo and fleet managers. These six kind of players that are in this space, they're all giving thumbs up because they all see green, everything is great, our truck is on course. Yeah, we see our cargo, we see where it is, right? All is good. Guess what? They're all about to get a really bad surprise that they're all wrong. Okay, all six are wrong. This is sort of how the problem or how the attack happens. Left side, blue, is everything is looking safe. That's a device that can be used to spoof. And what happens is it looks safe. It looks like your truck is on course, but actually you're off course. Same truck, same minute. Everything looks great on your dashboard, whether you're a fleet manager, whether you're a cargo owner, trucking company, etc. But actually, it's taken off course. What does this mean? What's the financial impact? So let's go high level first for cargo theft. Cargo theft is a big problem, and spoofing is the fastest growing part of cargo theft. Just last year alone, $6.6 billion just in North America in the trucking industry losses due to cargo theft. $35 billion for the overall economic impact. The actual value of the cargo that was stolen, just again, North America, just last year, $725 million. And even just one truck, one theft, $274K on average. Now that's cargo theft, 60% year over year increase, according to CargoNet. That's the industry trade group. So this is what we're talking about in terms of economic impact. Spoofing is the fastest growing part of that. Up 1,500% since 2021. Okay, that's what we're targeting. Now, there are other players in the space. There are hardware players. The hardware players want you to rip out your existing telematics hardware that's already in your vehicle and spend $500 to $3K per unit. Yeah, cyber security companies, they'll tell you after your cargo's already gone, that after the fact, not real time. Vehicle suppliers, OEMs, right, have to integrate it. Security sweep to see if you have a hidden tracker, right? One time, you pay almost up to $7,000 for that. And tomorrow, I'll go back and put the tracker. So we are real time, we're low cost, and we tell you when the attack is happening, and we're also integrating with your existing telematics platform. So you no rip and replace. You do not have to take out your current telematics. We integrate into the world's two largest telematics platforms. So Geotab, we just went live on Geotab's platform this month, or actually it's May, right? So last month. And Geotab has 100,000 customers. and they have almost 6 million vehicles on their platform. And we just got accepted into Samsara, into their technology partner program. They're the second largest in the world. They have almost 2 million vehicles. We are hardware software. Very important that we're off-the-shelf hardware. We're not custom hardware, off-the-shelf hardware. Monthly subscription, SaaS, $7 a month. How do we deploy, detect, defend? We deploy by that hardware device that I just mentioned. We're gonna install that. We're gonna charge for that one time. We're gonna detect using proprietary algorithms. We have 2 patents. NYU has filed two patents for us, and we're doing a PCT conversion as we speak. We're gonna run our algorithms on that hardware and then detect the spoofing, detect the tracker, and raise up an alert to the fleet manager, to the driver. Let's talk about some go-to-market. So we're looking at the Geotab Marketplace. Geotab Marketplace, we just got live on that. Marketplace, we just installed a few weeks ago our first fleet. So we are live in our first fleet of vehicles as well. If only 1 or 2% of the entire 100,000 customers on the Geotab Marketplace decides to do a demo with us, and if, let's say, 20 or 30% of those decide to go forward with a paid pilot, and if which would be roughly 200 to 600 vehicles from the original up to 2,000 vehicles, we're looking at roughly 140 to 420 vehicles that we expect to convert to paying from the paid pilots. That's 50%. By the way, we have secondary markets that we're going to talk about in a second, not just the Samsara. So the overall market for all telematics vehicles worldwide, all 140 million vehicles, is 13.5 billion. When we just target Geotab high-risk vehicles, 125 billion is the SAM there. This is electronics, food and beverage, and pharmaceuticals. Anyone hear about the Kit Kat? That's been all over. It's generated more memes than maybe we needed, but that was also a similar case. That was food, right, where cargo was stolen, very high value cargo. So similar case there. Looking at some of our SOM and what we're targeting from a vehicle numbers perspective, we expect to have almost 600 vehicles out there with our tech at end of year 1, over 15K by year 3. Looking at revenue of almost 94K year 1, and as you can see, 2.35 million by year 3. This is just showing you that if you paid for 1,000 vehicles for 1 year, the SaaS side, you'd pay less than $100,000, and if it saved you, I'm not going to insult anyone by going through the math, the 274K is what one theft costs. Okay. Here is some of the traction that we have. So we have just been speaking with PlexityX. PlexityX is a cybersecurity company that is right now installed in 72 million vehicles. They want to partner with us. They sent us paperwork last week to move forward on that partnership. They're on anti-theft prevention. They're not UNR 155 compliant. They need us. They want us. We are on the detection side. We are also talking to the FBI. The FBI, we spoke to the Cyber Division Detroit field office last month. They encouraged us to submit a white paper to do business with them, which we have done. We have the Vehicle Sec 25 Usenix peer-reviewed research that's out. We're submitting a second paper next week for a second vehicle security academic paper. And we are mentioned the Geotab, mentioned NNEDV, National Network to End Domestic Violence. So here's our team. We have myself, Maitry Dave, is a Master of Cybersecurity student from Tandon, Palo Alto Engineering, and Sarah Krueger, a GTM and Master Student in Tech from Steinhardt. This is the ask, 400K, we're going 120K for integration, 90 for pilot deployment, 160 for sales, 30 for operations and legal. We are mobile defender, and as we say, if your GPS is hacked or your vehicle is tracked, we will stop the attacks. Thank you.
Go back for a second.
Sure.
Poor thing. So it's being spoofed. That would apply. The truck is here, and I think it's over here. Okay, I can see if I'm the guy at the back of the main office and I see my truck going there. But isn't there a driver who was driving this truck? If the driver starts in Texas and he's supposed to go to New York and he ends up in Los Angeles, didn't he figure out along the way somewhere he was going the wrong way?
Yeah, so you know what they did? It was a very sophisticated attack. The Guy Fieri tequila heist. They actually attacked both ends. So they attacked the back-end database. So they rerouted the driver. So the driver, yes, like to your point.
The driver knows he's picking up a load in Texas and driving to New York, and
right.
Somehow he ends up in Los Angeles.
No, the driver was hacked. So the driver is actually following the instructions and has no idea that this is the wrong destination. But the fleet managers, if they were able to track, which they are, would see, wait a second, you're going the wrong way. But they didn't see that because they were spoofed. So that was the attack. It was both ends. It was the back-end database, which got the driver.
So is that what happens in all spoofing
So,
systems?
no, that was a very sophisticated case, right? But in many cases, there's just the spoofing, because with spoofing alone, we're going to be able to just steal vehicles.
Right, but if it's spoofing alone, doesn't that require the driver to be complicit?
No, many cargo theft cases is just at gunpoint taking cargo, and if I'm taking the cargo and I'm pulling the truck off the route, the fleet manager will see that and call the cops. Not if they're spoofed. If they're spoofed, they have no idea. Everything looks great. The truck is moving. The truck is going. Meanwhile, the truck has been held up.
And don't they have? So how does the crook know where the truck is going to?
By putting a tracker, that's the second part of our tech. So the tracker is a way. It's a magnetic.
It knows where the truck is, but how does it know to spoof it? How does it know to send the fake stuff back if it doesn't know where the truck is supposed to be going?
They put the tracker. They learn the behavior of these vehicles. So they watch and they learn. And they're very patient. And they say, oh, this is the normal route. These trucks take the same route, constantly. So they learn the route and then they spoof that route.
And what's the total dollar amount lost for this specific kind of spoofing?
Yeah. So overall, 6.6 billion just last year for cargo theft. It's a
paying that insurance company?
Yeah, insurance
Yeah,
companies.
so I was going to ask about insurance. How
Sure.
does insurance play in this sector? Who carries the insurance?
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
because if you think about sort of the risk reward, right, this is a low probability, sort of high output risk, right?
Mhm.
It's a perfect case for insurance as opposed to prevention, right?
Correct.
So how do you think about that
Yeah,
trade-off?
so what we love is that we are already talking to the insurance industry because we're part of the Northeast Cargo Security Council. And it turns out that because it's not a law in this country, it's a law in other countries to have this technology, but it's an international standard, so that they want it anyways. Insurance companies are willing to give a discount on the premium, which will not only make our solution free, but will actually make money for our customers. Because the insurance companies, to your point, are the ones who are paying for this, and they're willing to give discounts on premiums. That, let's say we're charging $7 and they're giving a $10 discount for the
Are
premium.
they doing it in Europe? You said overseas they're doing
Yeah, yeah. Overseas, there's a law, UN R155. I briefly mentioned the slide. So that requires
Is there
anti-spoofing.
similar companies that operate overseas?
So the companies that operate for the anti-spoofing we mentioned, they're a hardware solution.
There's no one doing it with software?
There's no one doing with the software and off-the-shelf hardware.
So where does the spoofing take place, and where do you cut it? So the truck has a GPS receiver,
Correct.
which says where it is.
Exactly.
And then it's somehow sending its location back to the main office.
Yes.
By what? By how?
By cellular, typically. So
By
we are
cellular.
integrating.
And so the spoofers come in and they intercept what, where?
Excellent question. So they actually override the GPS satellite signal. The GPS signal from the satellite is super weak, so all they have to do, and then there's a spoofer there, got a little show and tell. This device is $200 on Amazon. This is what the attacker uses to transmit a slightly stronger signal to overpower the signal from the satellite. So that's where the attack is coming in. It's basically overpowering the GPS signal that's coming from the satellite.
Okay.
And then that, to your point, gets sent back up to the cloud, back up through the telematics provider. We integrate directly with the telematics provider. So the same dashboard where you see where your truck is will tell you.
That's the bad guy's piece.
Exactly.
Okay, and
exactly.
this is the good guy's piece.
No, actually, these are both the bad guys. We have the good guys piece in there, but for patent reasons,
Okay,
we're happy to
so-
show you on
so-
NDA.
So your piece does. So first of all, it sends the legit GPS signal to override the spoof signal.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And you're in a much stronger, more powerful thing, so it drowns out the thing that's
Yeah.
drowning out the regular stuff.
Yeah, it's a proprietary algorithm that came out of my PhD research. It doesn't actually overpower this signal,
Right.
but it's a detection technology where it's able to say, no, this is a spoof, and that's the algorithm. That's the proprietary algorithm.
And so so you're patching into the output of
Yeah,
the
we're-
GPS on
exactly.
the truck, or the input to the cellular, or the.
So we're coming into the platform, so we're on Geotab. So the fleet manager is looking at this screen, and as soon as that spoofing is happening, normally they wouldn't know, right? And the kilo would be stolen. They see alert, spoofing, and that's our algorithm that's running on that.
And so typically that they would just say, tell the truck to stop and.
Yeah. Great question. So then they'll do whatever their normal safety procedures are, right? It's the same thing if you hit a flat tire or call the cops, pull over, whatever the case is. But at least they'll know, because today they don't know, and that's why it's
So the
really
two
valid.
things you do are, one, you detect if they are being spoofed.
Correct.
By you're plugged into the system, you have real GPS, and you're seeing what's coming in from their sensor. And
Exactly.
you're saying, oh, these don't match.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
And then the second thing you do is,
Trackers. So the hidden tracker that we were discussing earlier.
so is that in your same box or is it a different box?
Same box, same box.
So the
Yeah.
same, so the
It's two
box that's
patents in one
detecting,
box.
the box that's detecting the spoof is
also
because it knows where you're, is using that same real GPS to
Yeah,
send back
in
to
a way, yes.
another
Yes,
separate channel.
yes. In
back
a way,
to the
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Well,
Yes.
go back to the
Sure.
marketplace tab.
Mhm.
First of all, I think the algorithm's genius. I don't know
Thank you.
enough about the space. Really.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So there's nobody that's tried to solve this problem.
Yeah, we're the first in
software?
the world for the tracker detection.
So your, the pricing, it seems like you're underpricing.
We want to be conservative for this, for the purpose
Okay.
of this.
So the
package.
capital you're raising is just to go to market. And as question also, I mean, have you talked to the insurance companies? It seems like a no-brainer sale.
Yeah, we started the conversations, in these industry conferences, we're going to the.
But pull up the go-to-market.
Yeah, sure,
stuff.
sure.
Why, if it works that well, I mean, I understand this model,
Right,
but
this one.
why do you think if it works, well, you would only get 20 to 30%?
We
I guess I don't
optimistically
understand the
expect much more. This is a conservative, just a very conservative take, showing that even if we just had Geotab and we weren't, as I mentioned, Plexity X sent us the paperwork last week to partner, and they're in 72 million vehicles. They're a subsidiary of Continental, which is a tier one.
What does
OEM.
that mean to partner?
So two things they suggested. One is obviously to integrate directly from a tech stack perspective, because they do prevention and we do detection. The other thing is to do a co-sell to the vehicle OEMs. Hyundai contacted me and Hyundai said, hey, can you install your tech in our vehicles? I said, sure. Well, why? This is after the tracker paper. They said because of UN Regulation 155. We can't sell cars in the EU without anti-GPS spoofing. I said, oh, okay, let me work on it. Came up with the algorithm and the paper. So similarly, Plexity, they want Hyundai. Hyundai is the top stolen vehicle make, at least in the United States. I think worldwide, but definitely in the United States. So Plexity X came to us and said, hey, we want Hyundai. You could help get us Hyundai, because Hyundai already is reaching out to you to
If
install.
that's the case, you could be approaching all the automobile
Yeah,
manufacturers.
yeah. But they really want Hyundai because they're an anti-theft cybersecurity company in 72 million vehicles right now, and they want Hyundai. They want a partner.
So question, what happens when GPS effectively is outmoded by quantum sensing technology and stuff like that?
Yeah, and there's always going to be that in cybersecurity, right? There's always going to be the next best thing, and we pivot, right? 4G to 5G, right? We're going to have to update our patents. But yeah, that's where my expertise comes in, and with the PhD research, that able to stay one step ahead.
So it seems like your core go-to-market is interesting, but relatively small market size, right, given the cargo, stolen cargo, right? And also the specific situation that you're protecting against is like a fraction of that, because there's also just the gunpoint, throw the driver out of the car. The theft is known immediately, right? So, but you said a couple of things that are really interesting, which describe kind of a bigger TAM and like a different go-to-market, right? Which is the European market, where this is just already required, so you have a regulatory market. And then the second thing is just the more general sort of TAM of car theft prevention,
Yeah.
right? So how do you think about sort of staging these different go-to-markets and kind of like, you know, starting here but moving there, because some of those other go-to-markets might actually be more attractive.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. We
Yeah.
weren't expecting the Plexity. We went to a conference in Detroit last month, automotive cybersecurity conference, and that's where we were talking to the FBI as well. And we met the company called Plexity X, which is a subsidiary of Continental, you know, the tire company with the horse logo. And they are, I couldn't believe the number at first, 70, and that they're in 72 million vehicles. I'm so thrilled that they want to partner with us. But again, we don't have a deal yet. We're just signing MNDAs now. So we are live on Geotab's marketplace. You can go to our website and see us there, both solutions. So that happened. We're just going with what actually is kind of has took place.
And I think to also answer your question is, like, the Geotab and Samsara opportunities came to us in some ways, and that entrance into that marketplace was a lot easier and more seamless than these bigger conversations that are kind of, you know, months long, not just like a 6-month
Yeah.
spring as well, but yeah.
Got it.
Any questions? Thank you so
Thank you.
much. I appreciate it.